Okay, so last time we finished our color wheel using Tempera paints. So today we are going to do gray value and a primary color value. And so just to get started, your gray value, you're going to need white and black Tempera paint. So I'm going to go ahead and get my paper out of the way, off to the side, that way it doesn't get messed up or dirty. And set up my towels right up front. So I have my towels already ready, paint, water cups, and now I need my palette knife or stick, whatever you're mixing with. So whenever you're mixing gray paint, what you need is you need a big glob of white off to the side, and then a glob in the middle, and just a little bit of black. We don't use a lot of black. I'm actually going to add some more white, though. Alright, so first things first is I mix my medium tones. So right now we have our light, our dark, and now we need our medium, which is gray. Just regular old gray. And just keep in mind that black goes a long way. And it's a lot easier to make things darker than it is to make things lighter. So mix it all up. And you want to get a nice gray tone that's somewhere in the middle of those two colors. Alright, so this is still a little light, so I'm going to pull that in, the black that I set off to the side of that. Again, when you're mixing, make sure you're folding the paint rather than stirring it, because stirring is going to take a lot longer and it won't fully blend the pigments together. Alright, so get all your paint in the middle. Now I have a really good medium tone. On our sheet, if you look at it, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets. So the bottom one's going to be white and the top one's going to be black. So you're going to need 2 other tones besides our middle tone. So we're going to go ahead and pull just a little bit of gray over here. We'll actually take a little bit less because remember, it's easier to make it lighter than it is to make it, it's easier to make it darker than it is to make it lighter, excuse me. So we'll mix our white up in there. And you want a tone that's somewhere in between those two. Not exactly white, but not exactly gray. Alright, so we have our second tone. Now we need to go and make our medium dark tone. So again, gray and just a pinch of black. And see what that does. So even though it takes longer to add a little bit at a time, it's a lot better because if you make it too dark, then you have to go back and start all over again. So I'm still going to add a little bit more to this because it's not exactly as dark as I want it. Okay, so clean off your knife, and now you have 3 tones of gray. So you have your white, your black at the far end, and you have your light gray, regular gray, and a medium dark gray. So now we're going to clear everything away, set this off to the side, and again, get our flat brush, which will cover a lot of area because it's nice and flat. It'll give some good edges, but it'll cover a lot of area at the same time. So start with your lightest. So we need to put our white in, and even though the paper is white, you still want to put the white paint down because it does change a little bit. It makes it a little bit more matte looking. You don't ever want to have just like white on the background, white paper. You're like, if you want to have a white surface, you need to add the white. You can't just leave it raw. Alright, so our white's in place. Now we go to the light gray. Again, add 2 coats if you needed. The white's pretty opaque, so it's kind of going to make our grays a little bit more opaque compared to everything else, so that's nice. And we're just going up our value scale that we created. So starting with the lights and working our way to the darks. You want to kind of keep it as smooth as possible too as you're painting. Nice even surface, even strokes. Alright, so we have our dark gray and now we need our black in there. Alright, and there we have our gray scale. So it's a nice transition between our grays. It is a bit of a jump between the white and black, but that's just limited to, we only had 5 squares. If you were going to do this with a different group or a group that had more time, I would suggest having 2 sets. So have one right next to each other where they are only adding like a white to like a medium gray and then the medium gray to dark gray. And then that way they have more practice mixing those transitional colors in between. But again, it's all in due time. So the next video will consist of me creating a primary color value scale. So I will get to you on that and just check back shortly.